You're listening to Three's a Crowd, the North East Footy podcast, with Rye for Borough, Steve for Newcastle United, and Ted for Sunderland.
Good morning, everybody. Said good morning, everyone. Welcome to Three's a Crowd podcast, the only Northeast football podcast where we talk Newcastle, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough with a bit of banter, a bit of laugh, and a little jab here and there when we need to. We do it every Saturday right here on our socials at Inrictus, at Ted the Mackham, and at NUFC Matters. That's where you can find us. We have got a big weekend of football ahead of us. We have got no international breaks to worry about for at least 4 to 5 weeks, and then they come back again. Good, silly thing. We're going to talk about that, but we have got 3 big games. Middlesbrough kicking off very soon. They've got the 12:30 kickoff against Preston. We're talking about that if you're on your way down. Make sure to tune in your car. Then we're going to talk about the 3 p.m. kickoffs with Newcastle United taking on Wolves and Sunderland taking on Crystal Palace. There is lots of football to talk about. There is lots to get into, so let's not shy away. Make sure if you are listening in or tuning in from wherever you are, you hit the like button and consider subscribing as we move into the future of Three's a Crowd. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're both fantastic, safe and well. We do apologise about Ted and his bright yellow shirt. It's just, I mean, he can't help it. It's just Sunderland's, design theories, isn't it? I mean, what's going on there? Let's break into Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have got the early kickoff, so we'll kick off there. Middlesbrough are away to Preston North End. They are travelling down there as we speak. It is going to be a massive game against Preston North End. Middlesbrough haven't won there in the last 5 attempts. Down at Deepdale, which is going to be a tough ask. Middlesbrough sitting at the top of the championship, though, and go down there with high spirits. Rob Edwards speaking yesterday to the media, saying, unfortunately, there was a bit of the flu going through the camp this week, which might affect a few of the lads, but all in high good spirits as the international break. We kept a lot of players on the ground, likes of Hayden Hackney, and those weren't featuring for the England under-21s this week, so we did keep a core group of the squad together. Sammy Silvera did travel to play in Australia, however, so he's gone from Middlesbrough down to Australia, across to New Zealand, back to Middlesbrough, so you think he might get a bit of a rest after, I think it's something like 13,000 kilometres in the space of a week, but the rest of the squad should be there ready to go. Middlesbrough obviously sitting top of the championship, might unleash their new striking sensation David Strelic today, but you would think it'd be a strong 9 behind Tommy Conway. David Strelic, obviously the new signing, scoring for Slovakia midweek against Germany. It's going to be an interesting one, this one. Middlesbrough obviously predicted to go in as favourites because they are top of the championship, lads, but it's going to be not an easy one because Preston North End are unbeaten in each of their last league matches, 3 last league matches against Middlesbrough, winning 2 and drawing 1, but they've won 6 of their previous 10 leagues games against us. Middlesbrough have lost each of their 5 away league games against Preston North End in the past, and Middlesbrough remain the only side in the championship with a 100% record. Will that be broken today? It's going to be a tough ask, Teddy boy, my ex-championship compatriot, leaving me to the likes of Preston North End. Tough game, mate. Going to, it well from last season, going there. Obviously, Alan Brown, who is on loan from Sunderland, ex-Preston North End midfielder over many years, might be able to give us a bit of insight into today's game, but tough game, mate.
He didn't for us. No, I think they absolutely stuffed us back then.
Yeah.
Preston are a weird side, mate. It's they're a bit like the Fulham of the Championship. You don't know which version of them's going to turn up. They've been close a couple of times to getting in and around the playoffs, but it is a tough one, mate. Especially at home, they've got quite a noisy support at home, but. The travelling Borough fans have never let them down. So I think they'll be able to outsing them there.
Sold out 5,400 today.
You'll win the battle of the. That's out of a doubt. Have I just got funny again?
Yeah,
I just went funny again, didn't I?
You did.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you did.
Welcome, Cyprus. It's the hamster just fell off the wheel there.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah, stay on the bike. We need Ted.
No, listen, a very, very big, tough test today, mate. these are the sort of games that, if you are going to be credible champions, you need to go down there and win these games. Having said that, it's still no disgrace if you come away from Deepdale with a point. Alan Brown will have a point to prove as well, because he didn't perform brilliantly there last season. He's their ex-captain, as well as obviously having an incredibly long stay there. He's very well thought of down there, but yeah, I think he's going to be wanting to prove a point. Whether he gets a start right, I don't know. I think he's a little bit short of match fitness right now, so he could be one of those people to bring off the bench and just like something, tidy the game up a little bit. He's not a game-changing kind of substitute. He's one of those who'll just bring a bit of balance and a bit of calmness to proceedings a bit. But yeah, listen, it's an interesting one. I fully expect Strelic to get his debut today. I know there's a few people asking about that in the comments as well. Just to reiterate what was said last week during the international break, what a signing that is for Middlesbrough. That I really think that's a statement. And I think there was obviously murmurings in the off season about Steve Gibson's ownership and what he's going to spend, and has he got the appetite anymore? Then listen, I think he's proved his point. I think he's bored very, very well. Interesting that you've got rid of your goalkeeping coach in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, Alan Pettis leaving yesterday.
I think he's gone to a tribute band for Paul Weller, hasn't he?
He does look it, doesn't he? Him and Gareth Ainsworth are on tour, I've heard. Oh, we might have lost Teddy boy.
I went off again. Yeah, I did. No, I'm back. It's about every three. He's skipping on. I might have to restart and just rejoin him again. But yeah, I think that's an interesting one, right? Because not take up too much time talking about Borough, because I don't like doing it. John McLaughlin, the keeper who you brought in deadline day, vastly experienced. I think there's your man. I think that could have been an astute signing to do that. Very experienced keeper.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you've hit the nail on the head. And there was questions going around the club yesterday that probably John McLaughlin might step into that goalkeeping coach role. Obviously, Adi Vivesh and Harry Watling liking to oversee that as well. On to you, Mr. Steve. Middlesbrough off to Preston. It does look like Matty Targett will make his full debut today, obviously coming off the bench after that loan signing from Newcastle. But I dare say, because Sammy Severa, our normal person who's been in left wing back, has been travelling to Australia and New Zealand respectively, I think Matty Targett will get his 100% debut today. Obviously, it was at the end of that brilliant pass to Tommy Conway to score the fantastic goal. But looking forward to a full debut for Matty Targett today as Middlesbrough travel down to Preston.
Yeah, I mean, Matty Targett, I can't pay the guy enough compliments. He was a huge player for us in the season that the takeover went through. I mean, obviously, the takeover went through in the October. Eddie Howe came in. And Matty Targett was one of the first names on the team sheet, along with Kieran Trippier. I mean, he sorted the full-back issue out straight away. And on the left and right, we had balance. We had a player that run through brick walls for you. And unfortunately, because of his various ailments and injuries and bad luck, I guess he just hasn't even been able to maintain a position in the team. And then, of course, Newcastle have gone out and signed well in that area. They brought in Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall, who kept him out of the team. So the move to Borough has been a good one for him. I think it's a loan move, isn't it, to start with? But he's contracted up at the end of the season, with Newcastle. So I would imagine that if he does well down there, that he could find himself on a long-term contract there. But it's great, and Middlesbrough got a hell of a player in Matt Targett, and at Championship level, it's important, to have players who do the simple stuff well, and that's what he does. He does the simple stuff well. He's no airs and graces. He's not a flash Harry. He's just somebody who essentially does the job, does what it says on the tin. He's and when he hits a run of form, he's a steady 7, 8 out of 10. And he knows his limitations. He knows he's not a man who is creative and going to get you goals from full back. He passes it to a person who can do the business further up the pitch. And he's not afraid to jump in, and he's a team player. Newcastle went through a hell of an injury crisis a few seasons back, and Matty Targett jumped in at centre midfield at Manchester United, and he was willing to do that. So he's played centre half, he's played full backs. He could, he's been working. He does a job for the team. So I think character-wise, he couldn't have got any better. And he's a good player. But Preston, I agree with what Ted said. It's they're a steady Eddie team in that division. Yeah. They're there or thereabouts, but always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They need investment if they're ever going to trouble the playoffs or the top two positions. But ultimately, it's a tough game. But I think Middlesbrough have got far too much for Preston today, so I wouldn't be losing any sleep over it. And I think the backing of 5,000 Borough fans will play its part as well.
Absolutely incredible. 5,400 completely sold out away, and for Middlesbrough travelling down, obviously sitting at the top of the championship helps, but the Rob Edwards has got them up and firing. Lads, as well, the curse could continue. Rob Edwards won Manager of the Month in the championship yesterday as well. But the last 4 managers to win it in August all got promoted. Obviously, Teddy Boy, your manager in Regis, won it last August, and obviously we know the story of that one, but Robbie Edwards winning Manager of the Month. I mean, he's come in. It's been a crazy summer with the Michael Carrick and everything like that. But Rob Edwards coming in and to win Manager of the Month, 4 out of 4, Teddy Boy. I mean, I don't think he could have asked for that dream start. I think even when he signed, I don't think he would have been realistically saying at the end of August, I'm going to be 4 from 4.
Nobody expected it. It's an absolutely miraculous performance, really. You just take another bite there, mate. Sorry, I'm convinced that was out of shot. We can just edit it out. It's not like it's live. How are you? You're on all day. No, listen, Rob Edwards deserves a lot of plaudits. Don't get me wrong, it's very early doors in the season. And as we know, as much as, the last 4 managers who won it in August have been promoted, but we also know that can be a poison chalice getting managed
not wrong
as well. I'm sure that won't be the case, mate. Rob Edwards is proven his doubters wrong, including me, because I thought it was a little bit of an uninspiring choice. Obviously, with the way things came to an end at Luton Town, it wasn't all overly impressive. But mate, he deserves the plaudits. He's had an absolutely outstanding month, and don't get me wrong, as much as Preston's a tough game, they'll be looking at that and looking at the form that Middlesbrough's in, and it's a cause for concern for them. So I don't think it's going to make him change anything. I don't think it's going to make him go to his head or anything like that. He seems a fairly level-headed guy. He'll put it in the downstairs lab, we'll move on, and he'll go at it again.
Yeah, no, I think it's honestly a fantastic recognition of hard work. Steve, obviously, Manager of the Month can be a poison chalice. Some say that it is cursed. Obviously, the first time that you play after winning such accolade is usually a loss, but Rob Edwards taking in his stride. And one thing that I loved about it was yesterday when he did win it, he didn't have a solo photo. He made sure that the whole group, everyone, including backroom staff from chefs, training ground, everyone involved in Middlesbrough staff-wise were part of the Manager of the Month photo, which I thought was a credit of saying that it's not just me, it's a group effort.
Yeah, it's very like Eddie Howe. He often talks about the people behind the scenes. I mean, let's take the Carabao Cup for instance. He made sure that at the big parade at the Town Moor that people were recognised. That there's people who've been there many, many years and a lot longer than Eddie Howe and the players have. And, this one was for them kind of thing. It was for the fans, of course, but it was also for them, the people who were the unsung heroes. And it is very important to remember that that's what the foundations of a good football club are based on. The team ethic from the tea lady to the top man at the club. It's and if you get it right, then that's it. So it's it's a positive start for Middlesbrough. And I've said this since us guys started working together 3 years ago. That for me that it's the championship. What you have to remember is a marathon, not a sprint. You can get off to a terrible start in the championship, and you can still end up winning the title. And on the flip side of that, the league table in September very rarely reflects the league table in May in any of the divisions. Let's face it. Everyone can get off to a bad start and still manage to pick up enough points to do it. This one at the moment, and watching a bit of Middlesbrough, has the feeling of, for the first time in a few years, a team running away with a division. Yes. That's how good Middlesbrough look at the moment. And that's And I still think as well there needs to be a little bit of a testament to Michael Carrick, because Michael Carrick laid the foundations for this.
He did.
What happened with Michael Carrick was stale. It became stale. His routines, his training methods, his tactics, clearly with the people in the dressing room, just didn't. It wasn't getting through anymore. People just needed a new inspiration, a new challenge, and that's come with Rob Edwards. And credit to him, he's done very, very well. So look, let's see where we're at in May next year. But at the moment, Borough fans, enjoy it, and it might be a case of next year when we're doing this podcast, 3 teams in the Premier League, which is fantastic.
I knew you talk really, really dirty to me on a Saturday morning, Steve. That's why I wake up with you.
What are you eating? There's been a question from Barry. What have you been eating?
Oh, I just got chicken and rice. It's pretty boring. I'm trying to cut down a little bit. So we're going into spring and summer. Obviously, you guys coming out of yours, but we're going into spring and summer. So I need to cut down the old winter fat as I was hibernating. But obviously, we have got a special reappearance of something. If you have known about our trio for some time, obviously our previous gig, there was a certain segment that we used to love, and it was run by none other than Ted the Mackham. It is time to bring back for the 25-26 season. It's a little time for What the Fact, Teddy boy.
It certainly is. It certainly is. It's an international flavour of one this week, but anybody join us who hasn't seen it before. So What the Fact is a stupid waste of time that helps us pad out another 5 or 10 minutes in the show. Sorry, to provide in for you guys. I paused again. I went again there, didn't I? It's absolutely amazing, this. I'm loving this. Right, so What the Fact is, I have an amazing footballing fact for you. This one is about, it's regarding the international breaks and international duty. The idea is that I have a wonderful fact about football. I'm going to give you 2 clues to help you guess what the fact. Yeah? So, without further ado,
get your Google ready.
Pride for the... No, you'll look out on this. No pride for the Lions in this instance. Not what you'd call a golden generation. That's no pride for the Lions in this instance. Not what you'd call a golden generation.
An England team that's got the worst record in a particular sport.
No.
Is it? No. Is it?
Mr. Wraith is prone to stick one in from 40 yards.
He will. As am I with that Man City. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah, that was the Google.
We don't talk about Google. We don't talk about Google Gate anymore.
If you are in chat, make sure, and we can repeat the question. If you have got any idea what the fact might be, make sure you get in the comments and even play along if you're watching this back. We will reveal the answer if nobody gets it at the end, and maybe eventually.
And if you live next door, to Dunnell, and give him a knock, because get him out of bed. Because Dunnell usually likes to do this.
Dunnell, absolutely,
the oracle.
Yeah, no, it is honestly a question. It's a fantastic quiz, so make sure you get involved, and we will repeat, and we'll have a few more
one more clue.
One more clue going in. Just one more
time,
Teddy
boy. I
boy.
was too kind to you last year.
Give it to me again.
Right, the clue is no pride for the Lions in this instance. Not what you'd call a golden generation.
Ooh. Who was the worst England manager, like record-wise? It wasn't Southgate did all right, didn't he? Obviously, but
Sam Allardyce.
No,
played 1-1-1.
1-1. He's got the perfect record. While we leave that quiz with you in the chat, let's move on. We have got Newcastle United taking on Wolves in a 3 p.m. kickoff. Can you believe it, Steve? I can't believe it that you're on a Saturday afternoon for once. Newcastle United taking on to Wolves. But, mate, as we spoke in the WhatsApp group, it's not without its injury concerns. I cannot believe it. Wissa obviously getting hurt his knee, we do believe, for DR Congo midweek. And obviously new signing, in Ramsey, has also been hurt and looks like he will miss today. But we might see the debut of your new German striker. But obviously, Steve, going into the first Saturday after the transfer window, we've gotten rid of the Isaac, gotten rid of all that sort of mess. And unfortunately, it's not without its injury concerns now, mate.
No, I mean, I'm trying to remain upbeat and positive, but it was difficult last night on the Amigos show because, Wissa is tried and tested in the Premier League, 19 goals last season. And I think a lot of people probably expected him to start today, and that's been taken away from us. And anything when anyone says it's a knee injury, you automatically, you're thinking, God, it's not an ACL, is it? But it's not been confirmed what the injury is. He scored 2 great goals, for Congo as well.
Yep.
He came off the pitch, unassisted, so he was fine coming off the pitch. There's rumours I've heard. One's the worst case and one's the best case. The best case is he plays on Thursday against Barcelona, or he's available for Barcelona. But this international football is an absolute nightmare. It's great to see players get captain picked, but it does no good to the clubs. Volamada is, as you say, he's Newcastle's most expensive signing, and he could make his debut today. And I've seen some great debuts and I've seen some absolutely awful debuts. And I just hope really that Volamada hits the ground running today. He's not going to get a better chance today against a team that hasn't won a game, that is struggling and is now missing their centre forward today with Newcastle transfer Targett Larson, Strand Larson, unavailable for selection due to injury. So I think really he needs to, he scores. If it goes in off his back of his head, his backside, however he scores, he needs to score today. Because if he does, the pressure's off him. If he doesn't score, the longer that goes on, it's a nightmare. And I think we all know there's been enough publicity about it. Eddie said it as well. He's more of a player. He's somebody who brings people into the game, and that's what he is. He's not really an out-and-out goal scorer, this guy. So I just worry about it. I worry about it a lot. Newcastle as the defensive unit are very good, very tight, and I think that conceding goals isn't an issue with this team. We've been very strong at the back, all bar one season of Eddie Howe's reign so far. But it's still, how are we going to score goals? Asula isn't the answer. He was poor against Leeds. I was
just out on a deadline day move as well, Steve.
And I'm not sure where his head will be at with that. But he wasn't very, very good. He wasn't good at all, and I just worry about Asula being the other option. However, they have scored the odd goal. He scored against Liverpool this season, of course. Yeah. But he is like a headless chicken. The plus points of that are that if he doesn't know what he's doing, then neither does the opposition. The flip side of that is that, neither do his teammates. So, we're in a bit of a rock and a hard place with Asula. But he's had Voldemort's had a few days training, which is great. He got to know his teammates. And for me, I am not 100% confident. I was confident when I knew Wissa was available for selection. Now I'm a little bit down. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a comprehensive win. I've gone on record this week as saying we need a comprehensive win. Yeah. We need a 3-0 today, really. A 2-0 would be okay, but a 3-0 would be great. We need to get the goal difference back up. We need 3 points at home, and that leads us nicely into Barcelona, Bournemouth and Bradford, the 3 Bs on the horizon. Yeah. But anything other than a draw, anything other than a win today, it's not going to be confident going into the Barcelona game. Certainly Yamal and all. So yeah. I'm on a bit of a downer this week. But let's see what happens. And Toonami knows the story. Kevin Dillon used to play for Newcastle. I used to put a quid on him to score first goal every time. I think he played something like 49 games for Newcastle. He never scored a goal, then went to Reading and scored on his debut. So that's that story, Toonami. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling at the moment, right, about that.
I mean, obviously, Wolves aren't having the greatest start to life in the Premier League. And there was obviously, and I will get to you quickly, Teddy boy, but I just want to ask Steve, obviously, Strand Larson, Wolves' #1 striker, seemingly wanted the move to Newcastle. Now, obviously, it wasn't to be. Newcastle obviously had other targets in mind, but you did get him to the point of rattling where he didn't want to rock up and play for Wolves. Wolves saw it, and manager said that we needed him to take some time away. Obviously, he's got a lot of transfers, images in his head. I mean, do you expect Strand Larson to be playing for Wolves today? I mean, and continue that good form, because arguably he's the only player down at Wolves at the moment that has hit some kind of form.
Yeah, I mean, he's injured today, so he can't play against Newcastle, which is a positive for us. I think Newcastle were clutching at straws after being rejected by so many players in the summer. You know, they went for Sesko, they missed out on him. They went for Ekitike, they missed out on him. They went for Mbeumo, and they missed out on him. So I think Newcastle literally were left in that final 10 days of the transfer window trying to find, adequate replacements. And Strand Larsen was one of them. But I think, you know, the comparison between Strand Larsen and Voldemar is, they're both big lads, but Strand Larsen's, you know, he has scored goals in the Premier League, albeit against the bottom three that went down. I'm not convinced. I hadn't seen enough of him. I don't really know a great deal about him, but you know, the fact that they're now going to have to literally put 10 men behind the ball isn't conducive for a very entertaining game today. Newcastle are quite defensive. Wolves are, I don't see lots of goals in it, but with Larsen being out, it's a plus point for Newcastle. Aaron's asking about what's his name. Nobody knows yet. Yeah. It hasn't been confirmed or denied how bad it is, Aaron, so we don't know.
Teddy boy, obviously not the greatest week for Newcastle fans, obviously losing Wissa internationally, obviously Ramsey being injured now as well, two of their summer signings. I mean, it does look like a debut for their new striker, but it's time for life for Newcastle without Isak up front against Wolves, who are arguably struggling. I mean, we said even before the season kicked off that we thought Wolves would still be in a relegation battle, and if they had a horror, that would help Sunderland. Well, it doesn't look like Sunderland are going to need to, but arguably our point still stands that Wolves are off to a shocker once again.
Yeah, like you say, we highlighted them as well as the likes of Brentford. I would now possibly put Nottingham Forest into that bracket.
Oh, big age!
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, Nuno had the best win percentage in the Premier League of every manager. So, lovely.
How dare he talk about
2 seconds? I'm gonna. It's all right. I'm gonna plug myself into the hardwired connection. I'm going old school, chap. So
he's got the plug out. And don't pull the plug on us. Well, while Teddy's sorting that out, obviously, look. I mean,
I'll be back in a moment.
It is a good question, Steve. Obviously, Big Ange coming in at Nottingham Forest. Wolves probably sitting down at the bottom of the table at the moment. Does the Ange appointment at Nottingham surprise you at all?
I was really, really surprised to see the situation develop with Nuno Espirito Santos. I really didn't expect him to be in this position after such a wonderful season. But that infamous march onto the pitch by the chairman and the subsequent meltdown that he had, and then the interview that was given a couple of weeks ago, and the rumours flying around, you just thought, well, he's on borrowed time here. Yeah. But you know what? Ange Postecoglou, didn't have the greatest of seasons in the Premier League last season, but he won Spurs their first trophy in many a long year. So for me personally, it's great to see him back in the Premier League. He is a character. He talks a lot of sense. But I already foresee problems because, this chairman clearly doesn't like people who are outspoken or has an opinion, and Ange likes to have an opinion. So can you imagine if let's say 6 or 7 games in and Forest don't win any games or on a bit of a crest of a slump, then the chairman is going to have something to say. I can imagine them having a big square off. I think it's a bit strange, mate. It's a strange one this week.
Who's the first manager to get sacked, do you reckon, in the Premier League? Obviously, after Nuno now, but who's the next manager do you reckon to get sacked?
Oh, I can't see Wolves. I can't see Wolves as manager surviving the season. And depending on what happens with Leeds,
Daniel Farke.
Farke is one of these people, but Farke seems to have one of these kind of situations where he ends up getting there at the end of the season, and then they sack him in the summer. So you think, well, he got them up, he's done well, and then he gets the team relegated, and then you think, oh, well, they'll probably keep him and get him back up, but then they sack him, and he's doesn't have much luck. And Leeds United fans can't stand Farke. They can't stand him. No. So I think he could be up there. He could be a potential, But that would be my.
Graham, I think in the chat as well, Tom Dixon mentioning Graham Potter. I think he's on borrowed time at West Ham as well if they don't improve dramatically very quickly. Teddy boy, Thank you for plugging into the Matrix.
Nuno for West Ham.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah,
not
really good shout.
There was rumours as well, Borough fans, Michael Carrick at West Ham, obviously a West Ham youngling there as well, that Michael Carrick might be interested in that one. Teddy boy, before we get to everyone's favourite cat, obviously we did lose you due to internet there, but mate, just a quick one on Newcastle taking on Wolves today. We were talking about Newcastle's injuries in Wissa and Ramsey, unfortunately, maybe the debut, but life after Isak begins today, mate, and arguably, like Steve said, it would relax everyone, I think, in the black and white if they were to get a big win over Wolves.
I think even with Wissa missing, that's easier for me to say, with Ramsey out as well, I still think they've got far too much firepower for Wolves. Wolves are fully expected to be down there, mate. They've not really done anything since Nuno left, which is obviously where I left you before my internet conked out.
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's a comfortable one. It's a nice opportunity for Ballard. Yes, he's not a kind of a typical number 9. Did I lose again there?
You did a little bit.
Did you lose? Dear me, honestly, we must be getting high pressure. It's awful internet in Cyprus. I do apologise, guys.
Honestly, jump on the bike in Cyprus. We need Ted. Can you start pedaling the internet a little bit harder, please?
Yeah, sorry about this. It will be sorted for next time. We're moving soon, just for the sake of the show. Listen, the Mags have got far too much firepower for them. Like I say, ideal opportunity for Waldemar to maybe get off the mark today against what is going to be a bottom-end Premier League side. I'm still looking at games like this as Newcastle doing us a favour. Yes, we've had a really good start, but we need a favour from our neighbours just to keep the likes of Wolves down there and while we have these tricky games against the likes of Crystal Palace in this world, then that's going to stand us in good stead. But can't see a problem for the Geordies today. As much as that really pains me to say it. I
do like looking after each other. I mean, you gave them free beers, and now you need them to do a job for you against Wolves. So, I mean, it's looking after each other, isn't it? I mean, so we'll look forward to that one. Obviously, we're going to talk Sunderland next as well. They've got a big game against Crystal Palace. We've got to discuss Borough and get some predictions from the lads. But as always, halfway through this show, it is time for everyone's favourite cat. It's time for Troll of the Week.
Everybody who sent these in got some great tweets and pictures and stuff today. This one found in a supermarket. This is what people in the northeast have now. Aisles created for people. Stationery storage present. I love that. Very good. And anyone used Ariel? Remember Ariel that you used to use? Ariel washing up liquid. Well, there's still no signal in this woman's house. Getting back to football, we did have a rather interesting tweet from Mohamed Salah. Now, of course, Liverpool have gone out and spent a hell of a lot of money in the transfer window. And somebody chose to pay tribute on Anfield Edition, name a bigger upgrade in footballing history. Salah said, how about we celebrate the great signings without disrespecting the Premier League champions? He wasn't very happy with that, was he? We do sometimes see AI used for interesting things and bizarre things. Well, here's an interesting crossover. David Ginola and Greta Thunberg. We're seeing a lot of this. Now, you lads will appreciate this one. We will all remember the guy who supports Portsmouth and who wears that wonderful wig. Well, a Southampton fan this week stole the famous wig of legendary Portsmouth fan John Westwood when Portsmouth played Romsey FC in the Hampshire Seniors Cup. I'm not sure whether John's got his wig back, but anyone who played in the Championship or been in the Championship will know that wig very well. So, interesting to see where he got it back. Frank Chipper struck again, by the way. And Frank Chipper on Twitter he gets a lot of people left, right, and centre.
Got Matty Targett.
he went on this one this week. If we fail to qualify for the World Cup, it'll be down Alexander Isak and Liverpool Football Club. He put going on strike to earn more money ahead of staying fit enough to represent his country. He changed his name from Big Frank Chipper to Frederick Kipperfeld. Absolutely brilliant. Keep an eye out for him. He makes me laugh. Thanks to the lads who sent us this one. No. The Newcastle fan has changed his tattoo from the respective goal scorers of Burn and Isak to Burn and a Rat.
Oh, my God.
And Jimmy Moore, thanks for this. Hey, did it hurt to get a tattoo? Depends on the area, says somebody. I'm from Middlesbrough. Yeah, fantastic. And the two winners this week, thanks to Rob, who does my Talk of the Tunes show on a Tuesday. His girlfriend sent him this.
Boy. Elmo, please.
Elmo turning to crime.
Wow.
Bound to happen.
And the winner this week by a country mile was this job, a job advert. Jimmy Savile wants coach check under aliens post. Apparently he's Swansea's under 18s coach. It's a post he's held since May 2034. I think it's been slightly made up, but very funny nonetheless. Thank you for sending that in and making that of use. If you've got any tweets or got any thing that you want us to share on the platform, NUFC Matters 8092@gmail.com is an email you can send them to, or get them over to Ted or Rai on their socials, and we'll feature them on the show so we can play the cat for Jules.
Welcome on back to Three's a Crowd, the only Northeast football show podcast where we talk Newcastle, Middlesbrough and Sunderland. We have, of course, halfway through the show. If you've missed anything, you can watch it back on any of our socials, at Inrictus, at Ted the Mackham, or at NUFC Matters.
We've got somebody in trying to fix Ted's Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Mate, honestly, the internet in Cyprus isn't that advanced.
We've got the hamsters. We got an extra hamster on the wheel, hopefully, to keep Ted for the second half, because it is time to talk Sunderland. So we do need our main man in the yellow today. Teddy boy, what a dream start it's been for Sunderland. Going up to the Premier League. Alan Brown coming out this week and talking about, I think what everybody was kind of talking about was that although he understood it, it was a little bit disheartening seeing that the players that did get you up weren't given the chance. But I dare say Alan Brown was never going to be rocking up week in, week out in the Premier League anyway. And I think he understood that as well. But obviously, it's been a completely new revamped squad. Sunderland now have got no transfer window worries to worry about. No one leaving, no one going. It's life with Robbie up front. And it starts today against Crystal Palace, and a tough ask. Obviously, Crystal Palace, who did keep Guehi, obviously, last minute, was rumoured to go to Liverpool, but obviously Crystal Palace were shutting that down in the last minutes, apparently, and were able to keep their star centre back. It's going to be a tough, obviously a tough game today for Sunderland. Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup last season. They are no Shroud opponent, Teddy boy, and it's obviously one of those typical Premier League games on a Saturday afternoon against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, all of the above, mate, to be honest. I'll start with the Alan Brown thing. Listen, we get it that some of them are going to be disappointed not to be playing. The likes of Chris Rigg were a regular in the Championship last season for us. They're going to be a bit part player this season, maybe with view to getting them ready for AFCON when we have a couple of players away for that. But the likes of Alan Brown, a great Championship player, very, very good. But he's, like you say, he's not up to that Premier League standard. That's just not going to happen for that kind of player, unfortunately. Let's not forget, we were fourth best in the Championship in terms of where we finished. So fourth best in the Championship, as we've seen in previous seasons when they've made it into the Premier League, just doesn't cut it. So you have to reinvest and you have to buy a lot of players like what Nottingham Forest did. And there was a question asked earlier on. I'm very, very sorry. I can't remember who asked it now. But regarding PSR for Sunderland, am I worried about it?
Yeah,
no,
true.
Because there we are. Barry, I thought would be Barry, actually. Barry's a very learned watcher of this show. Like he's a clever bloke. No, Barry, I'm not worried, to be honest. I think we had to spend that money. The money was there, not forgetting that we got roughly in the region of like 55 to 60 million in player sales, as well as the money that we got for getting promoted as well. Christian Speakman's already come out and said we'll never ever see another transfer window like that, where we're bringing in 15 players and spending that kind of money. It would just, it would cripple us, and PSR would be all over us like a tramp on chips. It wouldn't happen. So, yeah, I mean, it'll now be a case of maybe 2 or 3 players in at a time if we obviously survive this inaugural season in the Premier League. And that's what's had to be done. The likes of Dan Neil have got to face facts now that they've got a massive jump up in standards to make up, even to be considered for the squad, to be honest with you, because with what's been added to it, it's very, very competitive in that squad now to get in there. Look, in terms of today's game, you talk about heroes from last season. Dan Ballard rated 50-50 for this one. I don't think they'll rush him back. I really do. I think it's just not worth the
cover there now as well.
Yeah, the cover's there. So that's one little sigh of relief that, for the likes of Mundell, who won't be back until the next international break, for the likes of Dan Ballard, Luke O'Nien is on the cusp. He's back on the pitch. Dennis Serkin's actually going to be a little bit longer. Dennis Serkin's another one of them. He might not make it in this Premier League squad. However, there's also rumours that Tottenham are looking to take him back as well. So, absolute car crash of a club anyway. You don't know what Tottenham are going to do. Honestly, it's like the most schizophrenic football team I think I've ever seen in my life. But there you go. Listen, on the sign of Brian Brobby, who could also make his debut today as well. He's a different kind of striker than what we have. Mayenda and Isidore are kind of the more wide men, really, who've converted to strikers. I'm not making a comparison with Thierry Henry, but in the same way that Thierry Henry started as a winger and converted to a striker, they're kind of doing a similar sort of thing. Brian Brobby is a different kind of animal altogether. He's a proper front man. He's physical. He can hold the ball up, which is something I think we can really benefit from, especially in away games where we're going to have like, 20-30% possession in some of these away games in the Premier League. So when you break, you need a front man who can actually hold the ball up, but also, bring these wingers into play who I think we've got some fantastic wingers now. The likes of Adringer is just getting better every single game. Talbi as well, the young Moroccan, really starting to grow in confidence. So Brobby for me is a terrific sign. I dare say he'd probably get some sort of appearance today against Palace. Whether he starts or not, Labrise has already said the people who were brought in on deadline day haven't got 90 minutes in them yet. So it might be just a case of blooding them in gently. We've got a few games coming up anyway. So, listen, Labrise, like the rest of the Sunderland fans, very, very happy with the transfer window. Happy it's come to a close. I think we managed to ship out some of the players who we needed to ship out. The only kind of surprise really was Anthony Patterson still stays at the club. Maybe it's just going to be cup games for him, the FA Cup, because we're already out the other one. Listen, the squad's pretty much getting there in terms of fitness, in terms of health wise, and listen, it's an interesting game. It's one of those tough ones, like you say, Rye. We've got to go and perform in these. And Granit Xhaka's already, what a signing he's been. Talk about setting standards and expectations of his team around him. He's one of these who's already making noises like, we're not going to go there and just play for a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw. He wants to go there and try and win games. And that's that elite mentality that's going to help us. That's why you pay 20-odd million for a 32-year-old guy, because he brings that sort of mentality to the team as well. So, while I know I'm under no illusion whatsoever, it's going to be a very, very tough game today. Listen, I'm hopeful. It's the hope that kills you.
It is. Stevie, obviously, Sunderland going away to Crystal Palace is a tough ask for any team coming up from the Championship, but life in the Premier League couldn't have been an easier start for Sunderland. Obviously, we were saying this just previously as well. that, the table isn't going to tell any, end statistics as of right now. But right now, life couldn't be easier in the Premier League. But today, I think, is a real test for Sunderland's ambition in the Premier League, whether they're going to stick around that middle or top half against the likes of Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace are arguably one of the stronger teams in the Premier League.
Listen, to be honest with Sunderland, this really will test their credentials, because Crystal Palace are a tough team. They're a tough team, home or away. Yes, they've lost another key player in Eze. Mark Gahey, though, at the back is still a player who can dictate games, scores the odd goal, but keeps it tight at the back. They've got a good bunch of players still at Palace. Got a good manager. Play an interesting type of football. They do play the high press quite a bit, but they score goals as well. They're a dangerous team at home. I think this will be a tougher game for Sunderland than they've faced so far. I'll be watching this with interest, how they cope with this. There's no doubt, though, Sunderland have gone all or nothing this season with the transfers. They've literally pushed their budget to the limit, and that's what Nottingham Forest did. I keep pointing at Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest did this, and look where they finished. Look where they finished last season. There's no doubt that this kind of financial attack on the Premier League is the way to stay up now. So I agree with who was in the chat there, the Borough fan, who said, "Can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Maccas might just stay up." On the view of the first few games, I think Sunderland have got a good chance of giving themselves a fighter's chance because of the money they've spent, and they haven't wasted the money. And yes, some of the players haven't got a sell on value. Saka is one of them, but they have got, they've got them playing as well. That was I just remember Steve Cooper, almost scratching his head at press conferences when he was the Forest manager, going, how are you going to play all these players? But it's what happened. It's what happened after that. And then Nuno coming in and doing what he did, he was fantastic. So, yeah, look, it's a tough game. I think, Ted's, old enough and ugly enough to know that there'll be defeats along the way on this journey this season. They're not going to win every game, so, you just take the rough with the smooth. But I'm looking at the 13th of December already and trying to weigh it up and looking at what we've done, what Sunderland have done so far, trying to weigh up the way we'll play. And the derby games are going to be interesting. It'll certainly not be Newcastle United marching down to the Stadium of Light and winning 3-0, I don't think. I think it's going to be a tighter game than I ever expected. It'll be
a blood and snot derby. I think it's going to be an absolute belt of that. I can't wait to see the midfield battle.
It could go anywhere, really, that derby. But I mean, that's for another day. But for me personally, I think this is a tough game. This is a very, very tough game for Sunderland. If they can get a point down there, that's a really good result.
I was going to say that, Steve. Do you think, the way I'm looking at this is it's the old adage about home form being really, really important for Sunderland? Yeah. I see these away games almost like a little bit of a free hit.
As long as you win your home games,
that's
it's all right. You thinking that, as long as the manager's not thinking that.
Yeah. No. When I say free hits, probably been a bit flippant about it. But we're not expected to get results there. So I think if we come away with a point from Sellers Park, I think that's that's as good as a win for me almost.
Point down there's a good point, definitely.
For anyone at this moment in time,
Yeah, no, it's going to be a tough game, I think, and it's a good barrier, like Steve said as well, and I think, like I said, it's a good barometer, of where Sunderland are going to be. I mean, this is where the questions get asked leading into arguably December, which is going to be absolutely atrocious in terms of your fixtures. But I think today will honestly allow us to see a real Sunderland, because there's no transfer window. There's no talk of, all behind, because I think your window was that prevalent that you kind of forgot that you were playing football in the midst of it, because there were so many days of here we go, the new signings. For me, I've kind of lost. I was so in awe of the players you were bringing in that I was sort of lost in the football. But now it's just time for football to talk and for Regis to really knuckle in with that squad. And it'll be interesting to see how Brobby kicks off, whether he sticks with him or Mayenda. Will Ballard be back as well? And, how do all these players fit into this squad now as well? What type of 11 are we talking about that Regis is going to run with? Is he going to be changing it week in, week out? Is he going to be sticking with the same 11? These are the questions I think for me can get a little bit of answers as we move into the next month before another dreaded international break. We have got 3 games, Middlesbrough kicking off at 12:30. Let's go around to the lads and get their predictions as we go to the... and fact 2, I do apologise. What the fact? Thank you, Steve. We did. I almost forgot.
Glad somebody's on the ball. Oh, you're about as reliable as my internet.
It's your internet issues. Let's go. Let's get what the fact. Come on. Clue 2 with what the fact. Come on, Teddy boy. Give it to us.
Well, 2 seconds. I just want to address...
he's not even prepared.
Be nice to see the Mackens decorate the bar again for the Geordies. Well, we won't be decorating for you, will you? Cheers for the 6 points. Might see you in a season or 2. Right. So, what the fact, for those who are joining late, what the fact is a game where I have a wonderful fact about football. This week's is about international football. So, the first clue I gave you was no pride for the Lions in this instance. Not what you'd call a golden generation. Your second and final clue is a terrible year for the 76ers.
Ooh.
So the first clue, no pride for the Lions in this instance, not what you'd call a golden generation. Your second and final clue is a terrible year for the 76ers. Ian McKenna's asking, what do we win? Pride, Ian, pride. That's
a date with Steve Wraith. I'll send you the details. Honestly, Steve, it's a little bit before my time, 76, and also being Australian. So I've got nothing.
Is it? I mean, the only you're saying 76ers, but that doesn't sound like a date. Is that more of a team? Is that like is it an American team, baseball, American football?
Maybe it's a red herring. Maybe it's both.
Well, it could be. Anybody out there? Well, it's 76. The 76ers is either a name of a team or it's the name of. Well, it's either the date. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's such a difficult one. Nobody in the chat's got it. Borough fan finally got you to bite, by the way.
Whatever. Who?
It's about 96 euros. That's Trolls.
Yeah, 96 euros.
Trolls is kind of it's the guy who's not English is closer out of anybody. That's
what we want. Oh, David,
74 lost to Poland and knocked out of the World Cup.
I don't think you're going to get it. I don't know whether you want to give it a couple more minutes or do you just...
Yeah, we'll give it a couple more minutes. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. Obviously, and again, there is 500 of you collectively watching on all the different social media platforms. So we do appreciate the love and support to this fantastic pod. Thank you for tuning in. We'll give you about another couple of minutes if you're out there listening in to have a look and maybe Google if you want to. We don't, you're not allowed to Google. You're not allowed to Google, but if you want to, do you know what I mean? It's better than take it away from Ted's pride. But while we give you a little bit more time, let's get some predictions from the lads. Obviously, Middlesbrough, we'll kick off first. Middlesbrough going to Preston in the midday kickoff. I'm going for a big 3-1 victory. I don't think it's going to be a clean sheet, but I think we're going to continue. I think our strike force is absolutely phenomenal. Tommy Conway, David Strelic. I can see goals in this one, so I'm going for a big 3-1 victory to Middlesbrough to stop what has been a horrible record at Deepdale. Teddy boy?
5 out of 5, 2-0 to the Borough. Honestly,
5 out of 5. Get in.
I really do think so. I think defensively you've improved massively. I can't see them scoring. I really can't. So I'm going to go a 2-0 win to the Borough.
What about you, Stevie lad?
2-1. I still think Preston will score. But yeah, 2-1 for the Middlesbrough. Keep it going.
Every one of us going for a Middlesbrough win. That means get your money on Preston. Bet responsibly. And obviously, we're going to Newcastle taking on Wolves in a massive 3 p.m. kickoff. Again, a game where Newcastle need to win. And I think there's been a bit of conjecture this week with the injuries and stuff like that, but I just don't think Wolves are anywhere near it. And I think, like Teddy had alluded to as well, I think you've still got enough strike force. And I think Walter Mata is going to be get his debut and he's going to score today. I'm going to go for a cheeky 2-0 win for Newcastle today over Wolves. And Teddy boy?
Well, I mean, it's not often we agree on anything. I'm actually going to go 2-0 to the Geordies as well. Yeah, like I said, far too powerful for Wolves at this moment in time. I can't see Wolves barely getting out their own half, let alone getting any goals. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to the Toon.
Yeah, I think the midfield battle is going to be a strong one for you today, Stevie lad. Obviously, Newcastle, mate, 3 p.m. kickoff against Wolves. How are you seeing your team go?
Yeah, I think we'll win. I don't think it's going to be a game for the purists, though. I think that's the big issue. I think Newcastle will line up with Pope in goal. I think the back four picks itself. I think it'll be Trippier, Sharburn, Tino. I think Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton will form the midfield. Joe Linton's back, and I think the decision that he made against Leeds will be the decision he makes today. I think he'll stick with Murphy on the right. I think Alanga will be on the bench. I think Barnes will be on the left, and I think Baltimore will be up front. I think that'll be the starting 11. But I think we'll win 2-1. 2-0, sorry. 2-0.
2-0. 3 of us going for a Newcastle win of 2-0 as well. My goodness me. The curse hopefully is broken. And lastly, but not least, Sunderland taking on Crystal Palace again in a 3 p.m. kickoff. A tough test for Sunderland, but I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw here. I think it's going to be Sunderland and Crystal Palace sharing the odds here. I think you've both got a goal in you at least. And I think we saw it kind of against Brentford as well. More of a cagey affair, and then maybe in that last 10 minutes, a bit of a scramble again, Teddy boy. But I think Sunderland have got a good, and I'm loving the new goalkeeper. So I think it's going to be a 1-1 affair to you this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised to see Steve up the borough saying Sunderland win 2-1. I don't share your optimism, unfortunately, on this one. I think it's going to be a tougher game than that. My heart is saying a 0-0 draw. Yeah, but I think we'll be lucky to get away with a point on this one. So I'm going to go for it. I'll take a dull 0-0 right now.
Yeah, okay. And Stevie lad, Crystal Palace at home to Sunderland.
I think Palace will edge it 2-1.
Ooh, 2-1. So there are your predictions for the 3 games. If you are making any of the travels this afternoon from the Northeast, please travel carefully, and we hope you enjoy your football. But before we finish off here at Three's a Crowd, we've got to get the what the fact. We've got to get the answer. It doesn't look like anyone's going to come in. Daniil's in bed. We haven't had anyone on Google. There's no AI. Sheffield United's in here to be able to help us out. Teddy boy, the answer to a tough what the fact, mate, as we bring it back for this season. What was the answer to that what the fact?
Well, I was far too easy in your last season, so it is a bit tough.
You were.
This one. So I'll just give you the clues one more time. First clue was no pride for the Lions in this instance, not what you'd call a golden generation. And your second and final clue was a terrible year for the 76ers. The fact is, no players at all born in the year 1976 played for England. It's the only year in the 20th century where that happened. Nobody who was born in the year 1976 played for England.
Very good.
Very well done.
Right before you close, I want to ask you. I just want to ask your opinions on this. I don't know whether you saw it. The English Football League is considering a plan to add an extra eliminator round to the Championship playoffs, which would extend the amount of teams involved to 6. Don't understand why they need to change what is already a great format and provide some of the most excitement all season. What's your views on that, Ryan?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, mate, and I had alluded to this one on my social media, but honestly, I think it's something that just doesn't need to be changed. I don't get it. I mean, I don't think you should be rewarded for finish 7th and 8th. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to say that the 1st and 2nd still go up, and then you got another 6 teams to go in a playoff battle. So that means if we finish 7th or 8th, you get the chance to get to the Premier League. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because then you're going to get teams that arguably maybe they're around 4th and there's no way they can drop because there's there could be a big point gap between 4th and 8th. You could see the last 6-7 games much like what Sunderland did where they rest their players because they don't need to get any more points. There's no need to go and lose the likes of Willem Eastwood or Tom or Ballard or anything like that and risk them in the last 6-7 games of the season, and that absolutely ruins the experience of the championship, and I hate it because you want the best thing about the championship is that on any day anyone can beat anyone. And that's the God's honest truth. We can rock up today first. Preston could be last. We could be first, and Preston could do us 5-0, and everyone be like, what the hell? That's just the championship. Do you know what I mean? But that was the beauty of it, where if you bring in this, where it's, you got teams that are 7th and 8th that can make the playoffs, you're going to see more teams resting players and arguably only going for a certain amount of points to know that they're secure to make it. It just makes no sense to me. Why ruin a good thing? There's 4 teams that deserve it. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You know what I mean? I think that makes total sense to me. A 6th is, even then, it gives you a good chance, but bringing in 7th and 8th, it just makes no sense to me. Teddy boy, I don't know how you see it, but I think it's disgusting.
It's the Americanization of football continuing to come to the fore, unfortunately. It's up there with putting adverts on during VAR checks and all that sort of thing. It might still come, but let's hope not, because I like the playoffs the way they are. It's exciting. It rewards the teams who deserve to be rewarded for having good seasons. Yeah, sod that. It's just a making scheme for me. That What
do you reckon, Steve? It's been a while since you've been in the championship, mate. But I mean, back in the day when Newcastle were in it, would have you been happy to see 7th and 8th get a chance to go in through the playoffs?
Nah, I hate the playoffs for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I
was going to say.
That's why whenever we went down, we always won the league.
Yeah. Stephen Hornpoint brings in a good point. It's all about the money, and you're absolutely right. I think there is a lot of American interest now in the championship, obviously with the likes of Tom Brady and all that sort of stuff coming in. And I think it's just money. I think you're looking at teams, because then they can extend the playoffs. You get a couple more games out of it. Do you know what I mean? But then you wouldn't see the brilliance of what Sunderland did, where they get that last minute winner at Coventry, because that potentially wouldn't mean anything, because then we'd have to play another game between them getting to Wembley. It just makes zero sense to me. And I really hope they don't do it. But, who am I? I don't have the money to do it. But if I win the lotto, I'd shut it down, and I'd shut it down tomorrow. Guys, it has been a fantastic pod. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said just before, over 500 of you tuning in to this beautiful podcast, live watching us, me, Steve, and Ted, obviously here every Saturday on Three's a Crowd, the Northeast podcast, the only one where we bring Newcastle, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough together, and we butt heads, but we do it with a kiss on the forehead afterwards. And we love each and every one of you. If you are making your safe trips to the football today, please travel safely. Enjoy your day out. Middlesbrough kicking off at 12:30 against Preston North End. You can catch that one on Sky, and Sunderland and Newcastle will be kicking off at 3 p.m. respectively. Sunderland at Crystal Palace and Wolves as a tough test for Newcastle. Can they get their life without Isak on the road? Guys, thank you so much. Make sure you consider liking and subscribing. We will see you all next Saturday for another pod. Thank you for joining us. It's bye for now.
Three's a Crowd podcast will return. That's not a threat. It's a promise.